Down to Skip's rocks now. Be pretty hard to get a roll underneath the guard here unless you play just through the house weight.
Again, thinking about those lighter weight hits.
Game of finesse.
That's right.
They're working hard at it. Really trying to get a roll.
No, stuck right on place.
Yeah. Tried to do exactly what we were talking about. They were trying to throw, just through the house or hack weight. That was pretty close.
While we watch these teams exchange hits, do you want to talk about some of those strange named weights that we've been bringing up all weekend that some people might not be used to? Hack, board,
Not
peel.
especially. I'm not really interested in having that discussion with you, Bob. No, sure. Weight calls in curling, they have a unique language to them. So typically, when you're talking about removing a stone from play with a hit like this, you need to tell the player how hard you want the throw. So you might hear Skip say, well, we'll just throw normal weight at this. And they usually agree on a team what normal weight is. And so much so now that they will assign a stopwatch time to it, a split time between the two hog lines. So, a 10.5 second hit or a 9.5 second hit. Obviously, the lower the number, the faster the stone is going. So you might hear normal, like you mentioned, Bob, hack weight. So that's enough weight for the stone to actually travel through the rings and get to the hack, which is where you deliver from, the two little starting blocks behind the rings. Next up from that would be what I call a board weight, enough weight for the rock to hit the backboard and bounce a little bit, so a little more than hack weight. There's things like down normal. There's peel weight, which is throwing it really hard. It's typically when you're trying to remove a stone and not keep your shooter around. Is that enough? Does that explain it?
I think so.
I'm
That was
just kidding.
perfect. You did a great job.
You can punch me later.
It won't be necessary.
So Scott Dunnam trying to make that roll over underneath that guard and just rolls a foot too far, but a really good effort. It is wide open, so Luc Violette here with hammer. He's going to want to blank the end, so he's going to be throwing probably firm or peel weight. Give you an example here of one of those upper weights. They swept it right away. Looked like he was a little narrow, and he ends up sticking around, taking one, so that's going to tie the game after two ends.
And
Pretty
so
wide open there, Bob.
the reason why he would have wanted to blank it is so that he could keep the hammer going into the third end. Right?
You are correct. You
All
are
right.
correct. So the way it works in curling is if you score, you give up the advantage of having the last stone for the next end. So if you understand that your goal with the hammer is to try and score at least 2 points, when you're in a situation where you can get out of an end, um, not being forced to take one, you want to do that. So you in that situation, Luke wanted to peel that off and score nothing, but keep the hammer for the following end. John Harstad, lead for Team Violet. Ben Richardson playing second. Chase Sinnott, I mentioned earlier, Device are third, and Luc Violette skip.
At least I had one of the teams right.
It's been a bit of a problem this weekend, especially with these younger teams. They all almost all of them carry a fifth and utilize their fifth player a lot. So it's a little harder to tell what lineup you've got out there. You have to check.
A little bit of a deep draw there.
Yeah, that's what we call a sneaky third point. Be nice if that played out for us this time, just so I could explain it. But with the 5 rock free guard zone, there's a situation where that's actually a really good place for your first stone.
Well, I hope you get a chance to show us
Exactly.
the example.
But the problem is there's not a lot the other team can do with that rock. They can come down and hit it, but it doesn't really help them to hit that rock.
Looks like they're going to freeze to it nicely.
Yep. And that might foil my plans, but we shall see.
One of the skips I play with routinely, that's always his plan if he sees that develop. Try to freeze to it like that.
So just trying to come around to the top 4 foot here. Like to see that curl up a little more, but it's in a good spot. No update yet on the women's scores. I think it sounded like there was a big shot that happened next door.
I did hear a little bit of a commotion.
Yeah, try and get that information as soon as we can.
They're going to tap that back here. It's hard for me to tell right now if Violet is 1-2 or...
Yeah, he's definitely first. It's going to be close, but I think he's 1 and 2.
Nope, they're going for the guard here.
Oh, nose to
Wow.
nose. That did not work out like you would want. That's a director's page. Looks like we got the replay from last night.
That was Friday night. But we did get to see Matt Hamilton and his fabulous hair, so... Violet stacking them up in the house in line here.
He is. That was just an unfortunate miss by Team Dunnam here, and they're going to have to scramble to get out of trouble. It's close. It's going to get one of them. That'll help. And he does have the hammer, so. Yeah, I'm not sure what the best place is for this rock because Dunnam's going to have a way in there either way.
Well,
ideally, I think they want to bite the button here and try and take as much of that away as they can.
I was thinking the same thing. I thought, well, if he's on the button, maybe even almost freezing to his own rock that's biting it, might be hard to move.
Right about there. That's
not
a
bad
really good
at
shot.
all. Yeah.
Because that takes away both draws.
Wow.
Fortunately, there's only one guard out front here, so they don't have to go crazy trying to make the run back. If they just peel this off, it's just as good.
Team Violet showing us some really beautiful consistency this end.
Yeah, nice control on their weights. So Hunter peels off that guard and so you hear them calling 2.5. So they're those numbers that they're calling out are distances essentially, with a 1 being right over the hog line, a 2 being halfway between the hog line and the house, 3 right before you go into the house. So 2.5 is just a tight guard. So there's that update. Peterson and Sinclair tied. Third end.
This is deeper than they wanted.
Just a little deeper. It's going to give Dunnam a chance to try and get rid of a bunch here. Currently Violet laying 5. Pretty good effort. Scatters them around a little bit, gets rid of a couple. Would have liked to get his shooter rolling away a little bit more.
Yeah, he ended up covering a little bit of that button red. Or not quite, now that I look at it again from the front.
Yeah, he'd like just a little more room there.
Mm-hmm.
Again, just a tight guard here. Try and cover up that shot rock.
Very nice.
Exactly. So Dunnam's going to have to come around here. Freeze to a freeze tap. Play this in turn on the left side. We haven't seen a rock down this path yet.
No, we haven't. You'll notice these guys are spending a little more time cleaning the frost over there.
Yeah. The other option, of course, would be for him to play the tap on the right side of the sheet if he felt more comfortable with that ice. But this is all right. I think that the pro side here is to be a little bit short, and you want to be in the open, so that Violet can't take away everything with his next shot. So you would have 2 taps potentially.
Sure.
But obviously you want to make this shot, get it down there, put a little pressure on Luc Violette. This rock is really
Ooh,
curling.
it's curling a ton. It's gonna hit.
Like I said, that's not. I mean, of course you want to make the shot, but he will have 2 different options here, no matter what Luc does. It's going to be hard to get to a place to take away both taps.
He's gonna try to come through that hole and sit on the 12-foot.
Yep.
Cutting off both of those angles if he can.
Right. Well, I wonder if he went to school on Dunnam's ice that he set for the last shot, where he put the broom, and also if there were any issues with Scott's release there, because that rock curled a lot. So you would think that Luc would want to make sure that he got out to the broom here.
And they're on it.
Just trying to let it curl up. Looks like it's going to come through the hole just fine. Question is, where does it sit? That's a really good shot.
It is.
And that does take the right-hand tap away. So
the left is still there, but it's a long angle.
Yep. I think there are 2 options here. The tap, or you play a shot to concede one. You play the hit and roll off the red rock on the right, which my guess is that's what they're going to decide. It's not what you want to be doing, but everything else has a risk, a bigger risk. Last thing you want to do is give up a steal of 3 or 4 here and put yourself behind only in the third end of the game. So
yeah. Yep, I think you're right. That's the right call.
There's not really a port to navigate with a draw. As I said, the tap's taken away, so you really don't have. There's two shots here, and this is the one that's the safer call by far. Just playing that quiet weight again. Just want to hold this rock out. Ooh, that's going to be really close to the guard.
It's around.
Can he hold it now? That's a great shot.
Wow.
Great game saver for Scott Dunnam. And Team Violet will steal one here in the third end, go up 2-1, and we will see you back here in a minute.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.
And we're back. Four Seasons Curling Club, Sheet C, U.S. Open of Curling, watching Team Dunnam and Team Violet going into the fourth end. Team Violet is up 2-1.
Yeah, Dunham got into a little bit of trouble just with a miss, trying to make a run back double, and kind of went nose to nose to nose, and that kind of set up that whole end. Nice shot by Scott to save the end, though.
It was a very nice shot.
Just coming around to the top 12 here. Seems like we're getting a little more curl out of the ice this game than we've seen.
Just snuck by.
That rock goes all the way to the back of the rings again. This time, because the center guard isn't right on the center line, Luke's going to go after this. Just changes the setup for the end a little bit if you're not guarding the button. So he's going to come after it with hack weight.
And a nice hit.
Nice hit. This is kind of what I was alluding to last time when I said it's that potential third point in the back is if the opposing team does come after it and they stick around, it becomes a rock behind the tee line that you can use as a catch stone. So that's exactly what Dunnam's doing here. He's going to freeze down to it. Just a little light, but he's dead behind the guard.
I think he ended up throwing that out a little farther which is why it may have slowed down. He just wanted to get around that guard a little wider.
That's true. That's true. It's a great observation. We probably haven't seen any rocks out that far.
Yeah, good call on the weight. They were calling top 4. It's a T line.
Yeah, so far Team Violet has really been pretty sharp with their draw weight, putting rocks in good positions. Peterson gets a 3 to go up 5-2 over Sinclair, the women's final. Team Dunnam deciding they're not going to get in that same position they were last time, so they just peel that guard off.
And is Violet going to put it back up?
Yeah, it looks like it, and I think he's going to try and cover a little bit more of the center line. Really start to close down the scoring area when you cover up the center line. And you've got rocks in the 4-foot. This looks a little deeper than they wanted, but it's in a good spot. Does sit right on the center line. That yellow rock is wide open though for a tap.
This is interesting. This is moving quite a bit too. He's keeping those 4-foot rocks of his well protected.
See if Hunter can make a double or a triple here and open this end up a little. It's got to curl a bit. He's close. Just misses. Just over the top of those two in the 4-foot. Luke taking a little more ice on this. Just trying to get around probably to full 8-foot underneath the guard.
We'll have to watch the speed on this rock again. Last time they played out there, I think it slowed down significantly.
Sweepers are working it pretty hard, actually.
It's finishing with a lot of curl.
Really good rock. Nice adjustment. So they're going to come down to shot rock here. Excuse me. I think the play is to tap it a little bit and roll the shooter away. Try and lay second and third.
And what would be the reason for that?
Well, that means that Violet would have to play a hit on the outside rock rather than throwing another guard. Early call on this says it's light.
And we've seen a lot of curl coming down that lane too,
Yep.
so it might crash on these guards.
Really got to work it hard to get it by, and he's on the top again.
Yeah, there's really a lane out there that's ending right in that same little pocket.
Yeah, it seems like, 3/4 of the way down on that side, the rock just jumps and starts to curl, and there's really no straightening it out at that point. You have to catch it before that, and Dunnam just hasn't picked up on that quite yet. So now Violet's gonna go after this yellow rock and try and get a roll underneath. Sand is shaping up very much like the last one. Need this to curl a little to make the roll, and it does.
It did right at the last several feet there.
Team Violet playing well.
Very nice. Yeah, they are really making Dunnam work this game. Wow.
Again, this is the men's championship round of the U.S. Open of Curling Championships. Our last U.S. Open event for the season. Of course, we mentioned earlier, you've got Olympic trials qualifiers coming up for mixed doubles and men's and women's yet to finish out the fields that will appear in Omaha. most of the teams here have some sort of stake in that, whether it be men's and women's or mixed doubles. Many of these players are playing mixed doubles now. Let's see if we can hear any discussion down here. So I think the call here is the run back. Try and give himself some sort of an option on his last rock for a draw. The intern draw is there right now, but he'd like to move shot rock for sure. If he can get that red rock off the button, just so he's really playing this to make his second shot easier. So he wants to hit this inside of nose. Peel weight.
Line's looking good.
Oh, just misses shot rock. Can see how close if we run that back. Comes down and just misses it. Thought he might graze it even.
I'm just on the edge of my seat watching this end.
Mesmerized.
I am.
Well, it's been very interesting to see, the execution on some of these calls. It's, Violet's team is really playing sharp.
It is something special when the whole team just dials it in over the course of a weekend like this, and everybody's just hitting their marks. It feels so good.
So they're trying to come to just in the 8 foot here to take away a draw, and this looks a little deep. How far is it going to go back? It goes back into the 4 foot, and I think he may have just let Dunnam off the hook. I think you can see all of that rock plus behind the guards, so you should be able to throw a lightweight hit and roll or a tap and roll your shooter to the button. Looks like he's going to throw it, back 4 foot weight and just trying to come off the inside of that rock that Luc Violette just threw to save the end again and hopefully get a point escape re-rack going into the second half of the game. So back 4 foot, back 8 foot. It's a huge shot here.
It is just like last end.
This has really got to curl.
It's moving. It's moving a ton.
Oh no.
Oh my goodness.
Boy, that just took off on him.
Oh, wow.
And that's a big steal of 3 for Team Violet here in the 4th end. He'll go up 5-1 after 4. Wow, Bob, did that rock move?
It did. It just hooked over at the end. That was a sharp finish.
No, it's unfortunate because that shot was there to again keep them in the game, and it really just moved on them. They, like I said, I'm not sure if they're running out of gas a little bit. I hope they had a chance to eat between games here, but they did play an extra end game, so we'll see if Dunnam can rebound here and put a couple of points on the board to keep the game close.
This is going to be a really decisive end right here.
So you're likely going to see a lot more rocks in play this end. Dunnam's going to have to start taking some chances to get himself back in the game.
I was just thinking, if you were Team Violet at this point, do you continue to try to play that similar strategy that we've seen the last 2 ends, or do you keep this more open?
The book will say that you should keep it more open, but there's a lot of people who say, well, if something's working, why don't you stick with it? I tend to play the book probably more than I should, but I think you'll see Violet as you see, he comes in with his first one into the 4 foot, and I'm guessing the second one will be in the rings as well. So he's going to be looking to keep it open here. Team Dunnam going to be looking for corner guards. This one's sliding. And sliding, and it just slips into the rings. That's tough. You really need those corner guards, and when they slide into the rings, and Violet can come after it now. It just changes the whole dynamic of the end.
I think we saw that same thing with Tuma yesterday. A couple of missed guards can change everything.
Make the hit, get a roll, and Dunnam really has no choice. He's got to keep throwing up corner guards. The free guard zone is meant to bring more offense, bring more scoring into the game. So again, when any rock in the first 5 rocks ends up between the hog line and the house, it can't be removed from play. It can be moved. So now they get their corner guard up. So Team Violet can't peel that rock yet. So they're going to come into the rings. They'd like to be in the rings here, kind of where Luc has got his broom. They wouldn't mind a tight guard, but in the rings is definitely what they would prefer. Looks like this is going to be just fine. So in terms of free guard zone, Bob, I happened to be reading this morning that the World Curling Federation has proposed a few new rules that they're going to be trying out with regard to game length and tied games. But one of the rules that they've proposed, and it's been used kind of sparingly so far with regard to the free guard zone, is eliminating the tick shot. So a tick is a shot meant to move a stone but not remove it from play because of the free guard zone. If the stone being moved is on the center line, you actually can't go after it. Yeah, until after the fifth stone. Teams have gotten so good at that center line tick shot that I think they're just trying to eliminate that. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens with some of these rule changes. Some of the other ones are proposed meant to kind of, not shorten the game, but keep the game within a broadcast window, 2 to 2.5 hours. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with them. I think that the next thing is whether or not they're actually going to go to 8 ends versus 10 ends for championship play. So lots of rule changes afoot.
Well, thanks for sharing that with me. Yeah, that will be game changer.
Yeah, exactly.
Pun intended.
Pun intended. So you did see Team Violet go up and play the first peel, got rid of that corner guard. So Dunnam tries to come down and freeze to shot rock, and again they overcurl and don't quite make it to shot rock. And Luke's going to be happy to eliminate this rock.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Team Violet just doing a really great job these last 3 ends, keeping a lot of points in the house. Oh, Dunnam sneaking one in there, now sitting second shot. A good job removing some of those points and kind of keeping a rock in a spot that's going to make it hard for Violet to take it away easily. I do not know if I understand what they were trying to do with that shot.
So peeling for sure, and they were trying to get that second yellow to move. It's kind of locked in there with that red rock behind it.
Yeah.
So I think they were just trying to free it up so that they could come after it later.
Okay.
It's a good discussion here with Hunter and Scott trying to decide, how do we maximize the opportunity here? That rock is frozen in there pretty good. Hunter's second shot. So I think they're going to try to freeze to this rock. I think that's the call. Could also go around it to the back 4 foot because there's a slight angle with that pair above the 4 foot there, Bob. Can almost serve as a guard setup.
Okay.
Yep, that is the call. They are going around it.
I can understand that call. This is one of those situations that's tough because your opponent is scoring, but you want to keep their rock around because it's protecting yours.
Exactly. Not quite as deep as they would have liked. Just got to full 4 foot there. It is an interesting question now for Luke, what he wants to do with this. The safe call here is to say, okay, we're up 4. Let's just get rid of the open one and make Dunnam do something. And I think that's the call.
And he's hoping to roll out to the right side to just keep everything separated. No opportunities for, or less opportunities for multiple of his rocks to be taken out.
Yeah. On that note, sticking around there wouldn't be the worst thing, right? Because you're pretty late in the end. So if you just hit this on the nose, what's Dunnam going to do?
Yeah, that's true.
You're not going to go really hard for it, but if you get to nose, that's not the worst thing in the world. That's a nice shot, and it does roll away. So same situation for Scott Dunnam. He's going to try and get around this and get to the back 4 foot, full 8 foot. Maybe give himself a chance at getting 2 and getting back in this game.
Gosh, they have just had the pressure on them.
They
every
have.
end for the last few ends.
Yep.
That can get exhausting.
You're not kidding. Sweepers think it's got a little more weight to it. Trying to hold it out here. You want to make sure that this stays in the rings. Got to be in the 8 foot.
That has got lots of speed. Oh.
Checks up a little bit. That's a great shot. It's a really nice shot by Scott.
Was it just me, or did it seem like it slowed down quickly there?
It did.
Okay. Yeah, I was nervous about that one for a minute.
Yeah, so Violet's sitting shot here, and Dunnam second and third. See what
Yeah,
Luke wants to do with this.
there is that fair chance for Dunnam to raise back into that red and potentially sit 3, but possibly
Yep.
at least 2.
So if you're Luke, what do you want to do here, Bob? Little quiz.
I mean, I would think that they do have the possibility of coming in, drawing in with something else to the forefoot or the button, kind of on the other side, to make it difficult for them to take away both of those points.
Yep. That's exactly where he's going. He can even come down and freeze to that rock that Dunnam just threw.
Mm-hmm.
As long as he's sitting second count here, he's not likely to give up more than one. The only danger would be putting this rock in a spot where, yeah, it's not, I don't even think it's possible. But he's got to get into the forefoot here and be
Yeah,
second count. And this one's moving a little fast, but it does sit second count.
That one bit right at the end too.
Yeah, that's actually a really, really good spot for that rock because there's really no shot for 2 here for Scott. They're looking maybe at this double/triple.
Boy, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, you would have to throw an absolute bullet, and you'd have to catch that rock in the top forefoot that they're touching there fairly high, like closer to the Yellowstone,
Mm-hmm.
in order to drive it back onto the rock in the back forefoot. But I wonder if they're thinking they don't have anything to lose here. They're down by 4, and scoring 1 is only going to put them within 3 and give the hammer back to Violet in the even ends. I'd love to see him throw it. I don't know if it's the right shot, but I'd love to see him throw it. It looks like he's going to throw it.
I think they will.
Well, this is a gamer here, guys. If we can get another quick look at that far end. So the rock to the left of Hunter's Broom. We're going to try and catch about, I'm going to guess, a third, thick third, and make the double in the forefoot and try and catch the rock that Violet just threw in the back forefoot.
Oh, this is incredible.
This is going to be peel weight for sure. It's close. Oh!
Wow.
He almost made it. Let's run that one back. Oh, we're missing the replay. Sorry about that, folks.
That was an excellent try.
That was really, really good. He just hit it a little thick. Yeah, a little thicker than he wanted. He drove the second stone back at too steep an angle. So, geez, I'm so excited. Was that a score 1 for Violet?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yep. That one red stuck around right on top of the yellow that was in the back 8.
All right. Well, score 1 for Violet. We're in the 6th end. Some excitement, Bob.
This game has been exciting the whole time. I don't know about you.
Yeah, well,
Dunnam's putting up their corner guards again.
yeah, they're up against it now. I mean, they need every rocking play that they can possibly get.
Luke's getting a little animated out there.
This you don't see very much. It's the tick shot on the corner guard.
And so that new rule you were talking about, this would still be permitted.
Yeah, because the guard is not touching the center line. But they're trying to push this one into the coffin corner, I think, which is the dead space behind the house. And that one just goes a little too far, so the guard will go back. Cannot remove a free guard zone guard from play before the 6th rock of the end.
I have never heard that term coffin corner before. The dead space behind the 12 foot in the back. I like that.
Yep. Often overlooked. I've often wondered, what if everything was out of play except the rings? How would the game change?
Oh, interesting. It would be fun to do a bonspiel like that.
It would. So Dunnam's throwing up another guard, and this is one of my favorite calls, actually. Stacked guards on one side. So that the reason for that is that, again, teams got so good at making double peels on guards that were kind of staggered. How would that be? Distance-wise.
Mm-hmm.
So if they weren't right across from each other, if there was a little bit of a stagger, they got really good at making doubles on those corner guards. So you're starting to see more teams stack their corner guards in a line, like Dunnam did here, which makes it harder to make a double without leaving a guard. I hope all of that made sense. It sounded complicated to me.
It made sense to me. Yeah, essentially, you're keeping yourself extra protection, and if the other team does decide to go after that, they're going to spend more rocks to do so.
Yep.
Which means they probably wouldn't do it because of the cost.
You
or
got
at least
it.
I wouldn't.
So Dunnam coming around the stack guards. That's a really nice shot.
Look at that line. It's beautiful.
looks like they can see a piece of it, so they're gonna come after the rock in the house. But of course, at this point, being up by 5, if they happen to clip one of those guards, it's no problem. They don't mind that. It's a nice shot. Really nice shot by Ben.
We got to see a little bit of directional sweeping switch there.
Oh, you're not going to make me explain that, are you, Bob?
I mean, it's up to you.
I'm not going to. I'm really not going to.
We'll save that one for another day.
I will. Directional sweeping is. I have so many opinions about it now, and I don't even know if they're right. So
Right.
I'll just say sweeping was always meant to make the rock go further, and by doing so, keeping it straighter. So when you're sweeping a rock, not for distance but for direction, the intent was to always keep the rock straight. We went through a controversy a few years ago that most everyone knows about that made us change the way we thought about sweeping. It also changed the materials that we use in the equipment. And all of the manufacturers and all of the top players, or many of the top players, were involved in making those decisions and design ideas, about where we're at right now. And the it, even though that happened, even though all the top players were at that conference, and it's how we ended up with the material we have, which was meant so that directional sweeping would be ineffective. Even though that happened, we still have. I would bet 95% of the teams are still directionally sweeping. It doesn't make sense to me, Bob.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I don't understand it either. Basically, I think what it comes down to is there's a lot of skips who believe it still.
Yeah.
It might be a superstitious holdover, and if you're playing with a skip who does, you just do what the skip tells you to do.
Yeah. No, it's kind of funny the way that works in certain cultures. Sport is no different. Um, a lot of it has to do with what other people are doing, in particular top teams. And so when people see the top teams are still doing something, they just kind of assume that it's right. And I'm not saying that it's wrong. I'm just saying if we had a study to come up with a fabric that wouldn't scratch the ice and therefore wouldn't have directional sweeping, would no longer have an effect. If we had that happen and we adopted a fabric for that reason, why are we still directionally sweeping?
And as we were discussing earlier, we have
Yep.
seen that stacked guards really come in handy for Team Dunnam.
For sure. For sure. Sorry to get off on a grand tangent there, but
I started it.
you did. You asked the question, and so the answer is, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. If we are still having an impact on the ice that makes directional sweeping valid, do we want that? I mean, I thought that's what the whole controversy was about. So it's a little weird to me that nobody is questioning that.
Yeah. I bring it up to the skips that I play with that do it, and they'll say that's what they want. So it's easier to just not argue.
True.
That's pretty much what it is, I think, in a lot of cases. Just superstition at this point.
Dunnam trying to get around and split the house there to lay 2, and that's got to be probably the 7th or 8th time that they haven't gotten around the guard. So I don't know if they're dealing with a little bit different set of rocks, the yellow rocks here on sheet C, or if they're just not believing what they're seeing in terms of how much curl there is in the ice. So Team Peterson up 5-4. They're in the 6th end as well. A little tighter game over there. Violette trying to get the double, and he just narrowly misses. Let's see what Scott wants to do here. So if we can get a zoom in on that house real quick. This is an interesting call. So Scott could come down and tap. He could split the house with a draw, but he's actually going to play a soft weight hit here. And I think he might be trying to get the double. So the rock that we see on center line and the one in the back 8-foot or back 12-foot on the left, if he can make the double there, he'll be lying 3.
Oh, yeah. They have really played this end differently. It's working out well for them.
Board weight. Really got to hold this rock out. Pretty much catches it dead nose, doesn't get what he wants. And the problem with that is that he's shot rock is now exposed. So he wanted to get the hit and roll and try to get that double in the back, and now Luc Violette's going to be able to come after shot rock. Just seems like Team Dunnam's been a little bit fooled with how much curl is in the ice this game. And again, I'm not sure if that's the rocks or the ice, but you know, they've over curled on a number of shots this game.
If I were to guess from my observations, I would put more of that in the ice. I've played a lot on sheet C. I like these rocks. Haven't noticed any more curl on yellow, but I've noticed that Violet on some of the similar shots has been taking a little more ice than Dunnam.
Right.
And just paying attention to where they're ending up. So
Luc makes the hit. I think he wanted to get a bit of a roll. There's a double here for 2 for Dunnam. He's got a hit shot stone there and roll across to the back left portion of the 12-foot to get that other rock, which is out counting the Dunnam rock in the left front of the house as we're looking at it now.
yeah, there's a nice line on that. This will be a fun one to see.
This does look like the shot that they've called is the double. Double for 2, which would get them within 3. Anything but a score here, I think, will be handshakes. They're on it right away. Got to hold this out. It's less than half. Rolls across, and that's only going to be for 1. We'll hang on here and see what these guys decide to do. Team Dunnam gets 1, so it'll be 6-2 after 6. And it looks like we'll be back in just 1 minute.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.
Well, of course, Bob, while we're away, they made a decision. So handshakes come out. Team Violet wins the U.S. Open Championships in 2021, 6-2 over Team Dunnam. Really good game by Team Violet. I mean, they really executed and, well noted the struggles that Dunnam had with the ice. And, this has been a really, really good championship game to call, and hope you had a good time, Bob.
I did, John. I had a fantastic time. And yeah, congratulations again to both of these teams. They have been working hard and they played a lot of really good games this weekend.
Exactly. So we'll throw the ladies score up there. It's 8-4. And they're in the 7th end for Peterson. So you can hop over there, the Four Seasons Curling Club website, or Curling Zone will have the link to that game. Four Seasons Curling Club website is fourseasonscurlingclub.com. And then click on the live curling link if you want to jump over and watch the end of the ladies as well, or out on curlingzone.com where you get all of your curling scores. Well, Bob, you want to wrap it up for the weekend and send us on out?
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone, for being with us this weekend for the U.S. Open Championships. And John, thanks for joining me all weekend as well. Have a wonderful night, everybody. Thanks for watching.